Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. It is 2025. I can't believe it. I have not done a chat in at least 6 months, so it's been a while. I'm just happy that you have tuned in to my new channel. It is a channel I've been working on for quite some time. Every now and then, you would actually hear me talking about retiring, getting older, just happy to year after year have that birthday. And I'm sure you were curious at times, like, why does she talk so much about that? And I've finally made it to the point that this needs to be a channel. And for those of you who have no idea who I am Vanessa. Hi. I've been doing YouTube for since 2018, and it's hard to acknowledge that's a very long time. That's 7 years ago. I know, 7 years. It's shocking to me that it's been that long. And some of you who have known me, you know that I've always tried to maintain a couple of channels. 7 years at this point, definitely 3 still exist. So this channel used to be a very different type of channel. And I used to do traveling on it, gambling on it, live videos. And during that time of having that channel, I started realizing that I was changing. The world was changing. There was no real relevance of that channel for me anymore. The enthusiasm I once had for that type of channel was slowly dissipating. It was just not resonating with me anymore. It wasn't relevant in my life anymore. And so for those of you who had met me in person, spent time with me in person, slowly but surely, you probably noticed that was few and far between that you would actually see me. Those of you who started with me, I was very active on social media, meaning in most of my life, I just never knew about social media. I know it seems impossible. But it was quite possible in my life. And on this channel, rather retired, you will slowly but surely begin to learn about me and my life, so that you will understand how that makes sense. That I just had no presence in social media. I had no real connection. And 2018, it seemed as if I would need to have a connection with social media because it became important in my life all of a sudden, even though it had been important for everyone else. It wasn't for me. So in 2018, suddenly, I needed a connection with the rest of the world. And here I am. So 2018, I arrived basically in social media, but I really started with Facebook. For those of you who know me on Facebook, I have closed down all accounts on Facebook. Now, I have a feeling I won't be the last person to do it as the world evolves. But I just lost the interest little by little by little. At first, I had gotten up to over 4,000 subscribers and followers, I guess you call it followers. And they were even beginning to offer me a different type of page, because I think when you get to 5,000, it's a different type of page. Well, I just lost interest. I didn't need to feel daily connected and updated and know every little thing about everybody's life, especially 4,000 people, you can imagine. It gave me great comfort knowing I had the connection, great laughter at times, knowledge, but it was not all my life was. I had a lot going on in just my life. And with all of that, I said, 7 years been enough. It's been enough. I've known enough people. Little by little by little, I reduced it down to about 6 months ago. I had about 30 people that I stayed connected to. And that's when I realized I do that anyway. They are people I talk to. So I didn't need the other thousands to just keep up with. It was a lot for me because never forget, this new channel name is rather retired, and I'm going to live up to that and embrace it as I had been slowly but surely embracing it. The concept of being retired for me was more familiar. It was familiar, like comfortable. And being very, very, very sociable was becoming more and more distant, not feeling as comfortable, feeling a part of everything. So I started changing, and at a certain point, I started realizing, make the change. Just stop feeling it and just do it. It's your channel, your life. Make the change. And I did. So in the last 2 months, I started deleting everything that had nothing really to do with the me of now. And I know slowly but surely, those of you who know me started seeing the change and wondering, and what is, and ooh, all the questions. And I figure at some point, all of your questions will be answered. Hang in there with me on Rather Retired, because I am now telling you who I am little by little. You can go on the journey with me from this moment forward. And hopefully, underneath it all, I can start getting you prepared. Because at some point, all of us, if you're blessed, if you are fully blessed and embrace the concept of having life is a good thing. I can't guarantee you will always be here. I can't guarantee I'm going to always be here. But while we grow older together on this planet, I'm going to try to prepare you as much, because no one really prepared me. I started learning on my own and taking notice, and I had to piece things together. It was always a sensitive topic in my family, and still is. But I didn't have a choice. I was getting older and things were happening fast and furious, and I needed to make decisions. Look at this hair. That's one of my topics too, by the way. I will tell you the process of what's going to happen on this channel as it unfolds. But things were happening fast and furious, and I just had to make decisions and learn and weigh options. And so this has become my life. And I want to share it with you and encourage you. Don't be afraid. Be informed, but don't be afraid. I'm going to be hopefully a step ahead of you in it, so you can learn from my mistakes and learn from all the good and make those decisions for yourself. And I'm here for you. Do know I am always going to read your comments. Usually, I can't even think of a time I didn't answer. I love knowing that I'm not going through the process of life alone. And I think as you get older, you're going to realize why. When you type in and see all these videos of retirement and aging, you will find, like it or not, it's just the reality of being blessed as a birth. You, in the end, grow older. And you're going to have to accept you're going to end up at times alone. And at times, the people you know and have grown familiar and loved and been with, slowly but surely it starts to disappear. And you have no one to really reach out to. I don't want to leave you in that. I want you to always know I'm going to be here as long as I can. So Rather Retired is slowly but surely to the end. Okay, now the process of what I'm doing on this channel, how it's going to work. I'm burping like crazy because I did something I should not have done. And sometimes you just don't know how to break bad habits. Um, so I'm burping sometimes, excuse me. The channel itself is going to go in episodes. And these are the episodes, it's chats. This is episode 1. And each chat will have a title. The title for this one is called Why Did I Retire? Why Did I Retire? And I have notes. Why did I retire is the number one question, because ultimately the word pronoun I becomes you. And you're going to have to ask yourself, why did you retire? Or is it time for you to retire? So that's the main topic for episode 1. Why did I retire? And hopefully I will share some information that will make you start looking at your own life so that you can make that decision comfortably and know that it's time to retire. So each episode should have an episode number, and you will be able to quickly kind of find the episodes you're interested in because each one will have a title. And within it, I will try my best, you know I'm a talkative person, I will try my best not to take it too far over 30 minutes because there's a part 2. Every topic has a part 1, part 2. Part 1 is always going to be here on YouTube. Part 1 will always be here on YouTube and channel Rather Retired. And I'm Vanessa, don't forget me. I need you to subscribe. It helps me stay very, very motivated because otherwise parts 1 and 2, there will always be a part 1 and a part 2. Part 2 is always going to be, go to a website called Buy Me a Coffee. Buy Me a Coffee. And I'm a coffee girl, and when I found out there is actually a website that has a network where I can talk to you guys, and it's called Buy Me a Coffee, well, hello, here I am. It really touched me. It's like I connected to Buy Me a Coffee. A lot of you aren't aware, I'm assuming, because I was not aware, and I told you I'm behind. So if I'm now aware, then I know you're way ahead of me. But Buy Me a Coffee came about because I was looking at someone else's channel. And over time, 7 years, I listened to people who made it to the monetization phase. And the one complaint most people had was that when you get to that phase on YouTube, they're going to take about 40% of the money. That's what I have heard. Make sure you always double check for all information. But I heard people constantly looking for other ways of getting their actual money if you try to donate to their channel in any way. And so people were coming up with PayPals, and I think it's Patreons, and just their own websites. And I kept saying, ooh, if God, please, the creators. I'm like, I don't know all of this and how to get it done. So for a website to be called Buy Me a Coffee, and you can directly donate to my channel through that website, and they don't take 40%. No. You get the majority of your donation. I'm like, wow, this is my method because I'm not good with the other stuff. So stay here on YouTube because never forget, part 1 is right here. But part 2 is always going to be on Buy Me a Coffee. And my channel on Buy Me a Coffee is Rather Retired. Rather Retired. That's me. So Rather Retired on YouTube and Buy Me a Coffee. Same channel, but part 1 is on YouTube, part 2, Buy Me a Coffee. And I will say, because I'm so blessed that if you go to Buy Me a Coffee, and for me, I ask for $5. That's like the minimum, and I take the minimum. Buy Me a Coffee, you will always see parts 1 and 2. You get the full advantage. You will see parts 1 and 2. But YouTube, you will get part 1, but not part 2. And I have to do it because 7 years on YouTube taught me so much. It was a roller coaster ride is for every channel I've had. I do all that's required, but for some reason, and I guessed it, take a good look at me. On average, YouTube probably has people who are 20s or under. I'm not 20 and under. I am 65. I am 65. And I know most of you, yes, that's a story. I keep telling you so much is going to be revealed through this channel. But I'm 65 and very proud of it. And I appreciate people closer to my age, at least 45 and up. If you know anyone who is 45 and up, and I would even say 40 to be honest for some of my topics, I would say 40 and up, you don't have a choice. And I'm telling you, as your new best friend, you must start deciding and learning and informing yourself about how to retire. It's going to come sooner than later and fast and furious. I've been researching, and I'm telling you why it's so important. Not just that the age of 40, but it's the outcomes of planning. You will either plan to the point that you, at 65, won't feel stressed 24 hours a day. Now, you're going to feel stressed. Life doesn't disappear. The world doesn't disappear and become some floating, peaceful boat. No, you will always have stress in life, but you can do this to the stress and tone it down. If you start planning at the age of 40, preparing, learning, informing yourself about what it means to retire, if you start at 40, which is what I'm looking for, the 40s and up, trust me, this is the channel for you. Half of the channels I've been seeing on YouTube, it's too late. It's like they'll say things like, oh, I retired and I don't have any money. Oh, I retired, I don't have a plan. Or I'm alone at 65 and I'm lonely. I'm telling you, before it happens to you, here's what we can do, right, to make it better. And based on what I've been learning, because even in 2025, the age of retirement, your Social Security money that's taken out of your check, that money won't be available to you until 66 years old plus 10 months. I'm going to try it again. When I was 40, probably, I have to look it up, right? But when I was 40, if I recall, 65 was the year that once you made it to 65, all that money taken out of your checks, you get it back each month. But now, as of 2025, and look it up, they have now moved that age up higher. You have to be 66 years plus 10 months, so almost 67. That's extra years. And based on what's coming in politics, speaking of my other channel, let me show you. My other channel, remember I tell you I had 3, I always maintain about 3 channels. My other channel is called The Expansion with Vanessa, and it was called The Expansion with Vanessa, still is, because, and make sure you're subscribing to all the channels. I never want you to miss a thing. Ultimately, I will have part 2 on Buy Me a Coffee, even with all of my channels. The Expansion with Vanessa is deeper. It's a part of Vanessa who was not all, to the world, telling them every little thought I had. The Expansion with Vanessa, it kind of boils down to politics. Whatever you do or say or are in life, trust me, the umbrella that controls all of it is called politics. So that channel, The Expansion with Vanessa, and Vanessa is V-A-N-E-S-S-A, V-A-N-E-S-S-A. That channel is still in existence. It's about to kick off 2025. I just took a little break getting all this done. I had to clear out all these channels and get ready for the future. So that one starts in 2025 as well, January. So throughout January, you're going to see on The Expansion with Vanessa a lot more videos, and obviously the topic. I know I'm doing this a lot, but trust me, once you hear the story soon, you will get why I do it. That channel, The Expansion with Vanessa, I will be doing the videos more and more. And I will say on that channel, the max you're going to see each month is 2, because I want you to always pay attention to what is said and go research. Politics is deep and layered. And if I did it every day, if I did it every week, it's too much. It's too much. And based on, you know who is now the president, based on what has been said for us to expect, it's going to get very layered with a lot of new players and new decision making. The Expansion with Vanessa is my other channel where I will discuss all of that. So make sure you go on, subscribe. Thank you so much. And no, it's part 2 on Buy Me a Coffee. Now, I haven't set that one up fully yet, so I'll tell you when. Make sure you watch The Expansion with Vanessa to hear when I'll tell you part 2 is ready on Buy Me a Coffee. But for this channel, Rather Retired, it's ready. So you can go on and go to that one, become a follower, and, you know, $5 donation. And I appreciate it because you always get parts 1 and 2. Buy me a channel, buymeacoffee.com. Okay, so back to this one. Each episode will have a topic, a number. So episode 1, and the topic is Why Did I Retire? Part 1. See? Very simple. Now, every single time, I will try to keep the videos about 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the topic. It's fast and furious because I can't tell you every little thing I've done in life. Mine is more a conversation about what you must consider or think about or be informed about to do the same, which is ultimately, you have to retire properly. I've been watching way too many videos on YouTube about, and it's real, the government is tracking it. We've never seen anything like it. A good 1 out of 5 people, 1 out of 5 people are now homeless in retirement. Homeless. That's not acceptable. And most people say, oh, that has nothing to do with me. Not me, not me, not me. But let me explain why 1 out of 5 people end up homeless. Something you have zero control over. Zero. You have zero control over your health. Zero. What happens when you wake up one day and you physically, mentally are not able to control your own life? And I'm going to give you an example. Once I say her name, you will understand. Wendy Williams has taught us all a lesson. And I want to say it again. Wendy Williams, a most successful woman. But what you don't control in your most successful life is health. Like it or not, everybody will go through health issues. As we get older, people, I don't care who you think you are, you will not be able to control your health. And your health starts head to toe, head to toe, head to toe. People love to forget mental health is a part of your body, head to toe. So whatever is happening here, we don't know what's going on all day, every day. You wake up one day and you have signs of dementia. You have signs of some rare mental, I don't even know if you call it a disease, because sometimes it's so rare they are just learning about what it is. It's a malfunction. It could be something within your body that attacks you. I heard we now have the first death from bird flu. First death already in America from bird flu. And the medical world is nervous because, like COVID-19, we didn't know what to do. We didn't even know what was going on, and it took over the world. So you see, you can't control everything, but you will keep getting older. If you're on this planet still here breathing, you will keep getting older and older, and you have to prepare. So the best things you can do is to stay informed, listen, and learn. And if you start at 40, you have a good chance. You have a good chance, but I can't guarantee you because no one plans for being homeless. But 1 out of 5 people end up homeless. And like I said, there are sometimes things happen mentally, physically, or just by numerical odds. And you know what most people don't think about? What happens if you're the last one in your family? You buried your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your cousins, your children even, and you're the last one. And you're 80 years old, you wake up alone, and you have no one who's familiar anymore. You still have to get up and live. And you have to figure out how to get your own self buried, how to get your own self in and out the hospital. You get where I'm going? It's a lot, people. I disappeared not because I didn't want to do this anymore, but at some point, you wake up and realize you cannot just be Miss Social. You can't do it, people. At some point, you're going to have to realize you're not going to be here forever, and it's time for you to start learning how to plan your retirement. So I'm rather retired, meaning I'm at the beginning. 65 was when I was born. And that's, you know what I'm saying? That's when I used to put all eyes on when I turned 65. Now, you all have to have no choice but the plan ready at your 67. So, at 40, you need to just focus on planning for retirement. So why did I retire? The channel now, you have it set up. For those of you who don't know, I tend to do this one on Saturdays, once a week on Saturdays. So episode number 1, Why Did I Retire, part 1. And because it's the first video, I wanted to kind of put a lot of context out there, basic information. And now to begin to answer the question, because I'm at 27 minutes. And I'm already, just the first one, don't always think it's going to be longer. This is because I had to include a lot of basic information for you. But I want to give you an A and a B. Part 1 will have A or B, A and a B in this part 1. Now part 2 is going to have C, D, and E. So part 2 will be posted, and I want you to be able to hear C, D, and E on Buy Me a Coffee. So A and B. A and B, let's start with the reality. I had a career. How did I get this career? At 16, I fell in love, predilection, with the topic of fashion. I'm a fashion girl. Now, I know some of you are looking at me like, how is she fashion? Because fashion and fashionista, very different. Fashion is the learned person. Fashionista is my customer. I'm not my customer. I'm the learned person, the one who executes it, the entrepreneur, the teacher, the manager. I am that person. Fashion was my predilection for a career. So there's career and then there's customer, 2 C's, right? I was the career person. And my bachelor's was fashion merchandising and management. My master's of science, I have basically a science which teaches you textiles, which is where it all starts, textiles. Then you go into merchandising and manufacturing and production, because you take the textile, which is usually a form of a fiber like cotton or silk. You take your fiber, you make it this cloth, and once you have to manufacture this product, you want to ultimately sell it. That's the merchandising. So my master's was the Master of Science of learning all of that production and then the selling part. And so it was textiles, merchandising, and interiors. Because a lot of people forget that the carpet you're walking on right now, or the wallpaper, especially if it has a textile in it, even the money you're spending right now somewhere, that has a little bit of linen in it. I don't know if you're aware. Yeah, so money is layered with a lot of textile. I wanted to elevate my knowledge. So I have my Master of Science. And then it wasn't enough. In my Master of Science and during, I realized my predilection was even deeper because I had so many people interested in young people I was teaching. And I had young people asking me so many questions, and I started to realize, wow, I really enjoy the research of this. I enjoy the teaching of it. I will become a professional as a professor. And I did earn my doctorate, and that was my full pace of my career. I've gone from entrepreneur, student, master's, and learned person to career as a professor. And I've done that. My checks have been for a good 40 years total. And I say that because a lot of people are not aware that to retire, remember, why did I retire? You have to apply for your own money. A lot of people are not aware that money that they take out of your check that says Social Security earnings, there's no guarantee you're about to get it all back. I know no one really talks about that. You have to apply for your own Social Security money, and they will tell you the formula. And if you pass the formula, because there's so many hours you have to put in, they will then tell you how much of that money you will get back. Once I did the calculation of how much would be required, see, I said, now that's why it's time to retire. I met the goal to get my money back. Social Security is not just that check. There are some benefits that come with Social Security. And I thank you all the politicians in history who have planned and voted to have Social Security benefits. Now, you younger people, good luck. I don't know what's coming for you. I just know it was time for me to retire. I saw what was happening on the landscape politically, and I saw that all that money out of my check, people were trying to claim my money. And I don't like when you try to claim my money on my effort and my knowledge, right? Do you feel the same? Then you better protect your Social Security benefits and keep up with what is due back to you. That was number A, or letter A. That is, I told you, A and B. That was A. It's simple as that. I started calculating. I looked around my own life and career, what was happening, and I realized, it's time to get out of here. Just so you know, politically, I was at a state university. There was a lot of shenanigans and changes going on with the state. I watched 30 people get fired who were this close to retirement. I saw the pension plans coming down till gone. And I said, oh, no. I'm not going to just hang around working and get what in return? Politicians are not your friend. At least in my world, Democrats are your friends. But those Republicans, good luck. So I'm telling you why I retired. Too many people who didn't give a flying flick about my hard work and my money due to me. Those people were trying to take my money. And when I saw Americans voting to take my money, I said, it's time to go. And so I retired with early retirement. Early retirement was 62. And trust me, when I hit 62, I was gone. So I now have retired for 3 years under early retirement. Now, is there a penalty? Yes, it was worth it. I don't know your calculations. I don't know how much money you're going to get or not. But I do know it was time for me to go. I saw what was happening. I did the calculations. I met the calculation, the formula. And I was out of there. I got about 4 or 5 checks because I had money in different accounts. I do believe in the stock market. Do know we'll talk about all that over the years. Don't forget, I've been at this 7 years. I'm not new, and I'm going to take my time. Hopefully I'll be on the planet another 7, right? So, hint, do the calculation. Make the decision for yourself. Look at the political landscape. When in doubt, my other channel, The Expansion with Vanessa, will be talking politics because my goal is to help you get through this phase of life. I want you here, but I also don't want you, hopefully, I don't want you to have to become part of the 1 out of 5. And don't forget, part of it, we have no control. Mentally, your health, physically, your health. And ultimately, if you're the last of your family and still older, there are some people who end up homeless, a ward of the state, or on the street or in their car because the odds just were not in their favor. And this is real for me. I know people who are going through this now, and I know 2 who actually were the last in their family who had to bury everyone. And I went through some of that with them, so I know it's real. And I know when the person, she passed about 3 years ago. So sometimes, it's hard to say, but I have to tell you what she had to go through. And that will be one of the episodes. But for tonight, let's finish up with B. Finishing up with B, what was I doing that really made me say I have to retire? Okay, so in my career teaching as a professor, college professor, I had been there a decade, and I knew, didn't tell anyone, but my father was sick. My father passed, and when he passed, my mother was already a senior, both of them, and she was living in a nice house by herself. And I don't have any sisters. I have one brother, younger, married with 4 kids. And I say that because I'm not married and I have no children. And again, at some point, you might be that person left in your life by yourself. And I knew that I had been living by myself for 33 years or more. And it was time to reconnect again. I needed to reconnect, and I needed to be there for my mother. She was married 56 years to the same person. Can you imagine? And big house, plenty of room. And I sat down with myself, and I was asking those questions. Will I be able to do it? Will I be able to will the calculation, the numbers go yes? And it did. When it did, I said, okay, it's time to go back. Because I was not living in Georgia then. Now, this is where I am. And it took a lot. It took a lot for me to do that. To say goodbye to a career, to acknowledge my age, to acknowledge being someone's child. At the time, I was about 58, I'm thinking. And so it took a lot. Mentally, I had to get ready. And I came back. And this is where I've been. And that's when I got into social media. When I was saying, I was not, you can see why. My career did not allow all of that. You didn't want a presence through the state working as a professor. You didn't want a presence on social media. So I was never on it. Didn't even keep up with it. But once I made the decision for early retirement and returned, I knew it was time to connect to social media and get to know everybody I could. And that's how I kind of got started on this in this world of YouTube. This is why I retired. I felt that I would be okay, and it was time. Otherwise, I'd just be getting older alone, and I didn't want that. I wanted to have connections again, and I was willing to do the work required. And it's a lot. Trust me, I'm going to take you through the process of my life, because you're going to have to go through all of this decision making. Remember, it's not easy. Life is not easy breezy. It isn't. So my A and B, why did I retire? Well, as a topic, I retired because the calculation formula said yes, you can. And number two, which is B, how was I kind of getting this done? And what's the logic behind walking away from a career? You now see why. I didn't have a choice. Death occurred, and death said, wake up, make some decisions, and be ready. And I was ready, and that's why I was able to do 2 years after that early retirement. I was in a place of shelter, safety, had my money back in my account from cashing in everything. Made all of those decisions of how to get along, how to be back in a place I hadn't been to in 30-something years. Took a lot, but I think I made a pretty good decision. Because when you hear all the topics coming, and they will be coming on Saturdays, right here, so come and join Vanessa on Rather Retired. And I wish you all luck in getting there. And don't forget to go to Buy Me a Coffee so that you can hear A and B, which is section C, D, and E on this Why Did I Retire? Because that part, the topic, is really when did I retire and how is it kind of done, little by little. Okay, well guys, it's late at night. You know me, I love to do all of this at night. I've talked 42 minutes. And I'll see you on Saturday. Bye.